Hello everybody and welcome back to Ace of Arc. In today's video we're going to be showing you how to design your first house in SketchUp 2026. I'm going to be walking through it step by step for beginners, but I'm going to make it a little bit more fast paced. If it's too fast or you don't understand what I'm doing, I have plenty of other videos that you can go watch, and I'll link them down in the description. So let's not waste any time, let's dive right into it. First, we're going to start by drawing a rectangle. To do this, we can shortcut R, and we're going to draw a rectangle 20 feet by 40 feet, as shown on screen. If your rectangle came out like mine and is facing the wrong way, we can simply fix this by highlighting it all, and then clicking the rotate button and rotating it to the right way. Now that we have our rectangle facing the right way, we're going to use our line tool, shortcut L, and draw a line going straight out on the green axis at 8 feet, and across at 15 feet. And we're going to attach it back to our rectangle and then use E erase tool and delete that line so we're all on one face. Once we have our ground plane drawn, we're going to use our P push pull button and we're going to pull it up to 9 feet. You'll get something looking exactly like this. Now we're going to use our offset tool and we're going to offset for our roof overhang. We're going to go out 2 more feet, and this is where you should be at. We're going to start off by drawing the roof. Now, the roof can be the most complicated part, but we're going to make it as simple as possible here in this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select my line tool, and I'm going to find the midpoint of our front line and draw it directly to the back line, and again, for the intersecting lines. Now, I'm going to draw a line going on our blue axis directly up at 8 feet, and I'm going to connect that coming back to both the front corners. This is going to give us our front face. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find the midpoint, go add near the back, and draw a line going 8 feet again and connect it back to our intersecting point. Then connect it to the front left side and the back corner, which will automatically put the new faces in. We now can draw a line from our midpoint to our right side of our building, and then again draw one up going 8 feet. Connect that all back to the corners as well as your other intersecting point, and your hip roof is completely done. Now, I know that was a little complicated, but that is a very simple way to draw a hip roof in your SketchUp model. Now, to finish off our roof, we're going to zoom in to our overhangs, and we're going to select our push-pull button, P, and we're going to pull these down 6 inches to give the soffit some depth. And this is where you should be at now. So now that we have the form finished, we're going to start by drawing some windows. If you haven't watched my video with extensions for SketchUp, I highly recommend you watch that. But if not, we're going to assume you don't have it and we're going to draw these manually. I'm going to start by using my rectangle tool and just drawing a square. Obviously, we don't have any dimensions for this project, so I'm just going to do what I think looks best. I'm going to do the same over here, but I'm going to add some different windows. What I'm going to do is draw my first rectangle and then hold down Shift and select all 4 lines for that window and use copy and paste, Control C, Control V. And I'm just going to place my next windows right along the line of the first one I created. It should come out looking something like this, and I'm going to use 4. Now that we have our windows drawn, we're going to add some window frames by selecting our offset tool. I'm going to offset them to 2 inches. Once you do it once, you can simply just double-click the line, and it will go back to your regular offset of 2 inches. Just double-click, and there you go. We're going to do that to every single window so that it shows the windowsill. Now we're basically going to do the same thing for our door. I'm going to draw my door 7 feet tall with my line tool and 3 feet across. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did with the windows and offset it for some depth. So I'm going to offset it to 3 inches. I'm now going to use our paint bucket and add some textures into our model just to make it a little bit more realistic and come to life a bit. So I'm going to go down and select some wood for our window sills and for our door frames, and just simply select each one and change its color. Now that we have the doors and windows, I'm going to draw a line at approximately 4 feet going across my entire front facade. This is going to allow us to do 2 different textures. So for the lower part, I'm going to use some brick and place it below where we just drew that line. Now we're going to continue that with the rest of our house by adding textures. Now, you don't have to do the same textures as me. I'm just doing this, and quite frankly, you can do whatever you'd like. I'm just going to do the walls and the roof and the windows here. Now we're going to add some depth to our building by pulling out the brick. Obviously, real brick has a thickness. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our push-pull button, and we're going to pull our brick out 3 inches. Now, the reason I'm doing 3 inches is because I'm going to pull out the windows each 2 inches, and brick is thicker than a windowsill. So we're going to do that now. Like I'd previously mentioned, once you do it once, you can simply double-click and it will pull the offset to what you had the last one at. This is super helpful for what I just did with the brick and the windows. Now that we have the form, windows, and doors somewhat complete, I'm going to add a ground plane to add some landscaping. This is going to help the house just look a little bit more realistic. What I'm going to do is draw a rectangle around the whole house, and then draw a line for the pathway that is going to be concrete. Simply, we can now just go back to our paint bucket and select the ground plane, add some grass, and then go to concrete and asphalt and add a layer for our pathway. So now we're going to work on some finishing touches, starting with the door. What we're going to do is I'm going to offset the door a little bit more just to give it some more depth and add a little bit more of a design on the door. Simply just like this. It's nothing special, and if you want, you can put a door in from the 3D warehouse. But what I'm doing here also works. All I'm doing is pushing and pulling to add some depth to the door, and then I'm going to add a texture, maybe a different one, just to make it separate itself from the rest of the house a little bit. And now we're just going to do the same thing, but for the soffits, just adding texture to make it look like an actual house. If you mess up like I just did, you can simply do Ctrl-Z and it will revert back to what it was before. Now that our house is basically done, we can do one more thing by adding in shadows. We'll go up to View and select Shadows. This is going to give our house a bit more depth and kind of just show what it would actually look like. To make it a bit more realistic, we can also go into our 3D warehouse, search Tree, and then you'll see a bunch of different trees you could load into your model. So you can look through here and find what you're looking for. I'm going to use this one and load it directly into my model, and there we have it. Now, the cool thing about this is that when you have shadows on, the tree will actually reflect its shadow onto your house roof, giving it some depth and actually making it look like a real house. And there you have it. There's how to build a full exterior house in SketchUp 2026. If you'd like to see how to render this house, please comment below and let me know, and I'll make a full video on how to do the rendering. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.